In income tax, there are several terms that we need to be familiar with: gross annual income, relief, chargeable income or taxable income, as well as the income tax payable. Now, on the right is a table that we must learn how to read. Here, look at the column, chargeable income, which is broken down into parts. And the second column shows the income tax rate in percent, and the third column is the gross tax payable. Now, for example, if somebody whose chargeable income is less than $20,000 or $20,000, then the amount of income tax chargeable will be zero. On the other hand, if somebody's chargeable income is $25,000, then we will have to split into 20,000 and the 5,000. So the first 20,000 will not have any income tax charge, but the remaining 5,000 will be subjected to 2% tax, and we have to multiply accordingly. Now, over here in this table, you notice that these two numbers, if we add up, that will be the maximum that we will charge for $30,000 of chargeable income. Then you notice here there's a 200. This 200 is actually the sum of these two numbers. And here you notice it says first 30,000, which is the sum of these two. Take another example here. In this bracket, first 80,000 and the next 40,000. So if somebody's chargeable income is $100,000, we will look at this because this is more than 100,000. So by looking at this, the first 80,000, it has already been calculated for us. The chargeable tax would be $3,350. Whereas when it comes to the remaining amount, it will be subjected to this percentage, and then we multiply accordingly. So just now we talked about chargeable income. Before that, we need to know what is gross annual income, which is the total amount of money which one receives for the whole year, which includes the salary and any other amount of money. For example, dividends from investments. Next, relief. What does relief mean? It refers to the government program or policy that lessen the burden of taxes. So for example, say if a person has a child, so he is entitled to $4,000 of child relief. And if the person actually has 5 children, then it means that it will be subjected to 5 times $4,000 of relief. Then, chargeable income. It refers to the gross annual income minus the relief. And income tax payable will eventually be whatever we use from this table to calculate. That is the amount of tax to pay. Here is an example. For example, the chargeable income of $25,000. So we will look at this income bracket. And from here, we know that we are going to split at least a 20,000 first and the remaining amount. So this is what we get. And from here, we know that the tax for the first 20,000 is 0 based on this. And then the tax for the next 5,000 is 2%, which is over here. And now this is $100. So the total tax payable would be 0 plus 100, that gives $100. Now in another example here, practice 9 in the study notes, Wei Ming earned a gross income of $125,000. And of this $125,000, the amount that will not be subjected to income tax is as shown in the table below. So that is talking about the reliefs, okay? And also notes that for CPF contribution, it is also subjected to relief. Now, we have to take note of this next. He lives with 1 child and 2 parents. So we need to take note of the amounts here. And so first gross annual income is this, followed by 1 child and 2 parents. Now, to take note, it says that it's $4,000 per child and $9,000 per parent. So do note there are two parents. So to calculate the total relief, we will add this amount, which is the $3,000, which is his earned income relief, plus the child relief, parent relief, and the CPF contribution, which is a total of $50,000. And the chargeable income is now the difference between the gross annual income and the relief, which gives $75,000. Next, to calculate the income tax payable, we have to look at this table. So since it is $75,000, it cannot be this bracket because it says first 80,000. So we have to go back to the previous bracket here. First 40,000, and then the remaining amount will be subjected to 7% of income tax charges. So by writing this, $75,000 we split into 40,000, which is over here, and straight away we know that the tax for this amount is $550. And here the balance will be $35,000, and the $35,000 is actually the within this part it will be subjected to 7% of income tax rate, and the tax payable would be for this amount is 2450. So the total income tax payable would be the sum of these two numbers that gives $3,000. In another example which we have in the warm-up exercise in class, here Yihao earned a gross annual income of this amount, and then of this amount the following are the income tax reliefs. So do take note, okay, this one we can write down here first, that is the gross annual income. And for the reliefs that he has is for two parents and two children. So look out here. So later he will have this earned income relief, but for child relief, it is only $4,000 per child, but we take note there are two children. Parents is $5,500 per parent, and we have to take note there are two parents. So we can calculate this over here. And once we have calculated this, the relief would be the sum of these numbers, and the total relief calculated is $41,120. So the chargeable income would be the gross annual income minus the relief that will be subjected to the income tax. Now, to calculate the income tax payable, we need to look at the table again. So similarly, here we have 64,480. It is less than 80,000 but more than 40,000. So we shall look at this tax bracket, and we are going to split this amount. And as we split this amount, we get this. And from here, the first amount, the value is already calculated for us. So we just copy it here. And the second amount, we will have to multiply by 7% and to get this. And the total